Okay. Thanks to all of you for joining us tonight for the final program in the 2025 YT Hwang Family Foundation series on ethics and common values. Last year, the Korea Society launched this new lecture and conversation series in order to promote an understanding of central themes of our human existence. Through this series, the lectures and conversation with extraordinary individuals, we hope you will be reminded of the timeless guiding principles and be inspired as you navigate the complex world we live in. This series is made possible with the generous support from the YT Hwang Family Foundation and its founder and chair, Mr. YT Hwang. Mr. Hwang has been a close friend and supporter of the Korea Society for many years, and we are once again grateful for the generosity of Mr. Hwang and the board members of the YT Hwang Family Foundation as we continue this series next year. If you would like to find out how you can help to support programs such as tonight's at the Korea Society, please visit koreasociety.org, subscribe to our emails, and follow us on various social media platforms. This evening, we are delighted to welcome Misook Doolittle to the Korea Society. Born in Seoul, Korea, Misuk followed her creative passions to the United States, where she earned her bachelor's degree in fine arts from the University of Southern Indiana. Inspired to design sophisticated clothing made for women by women, she founded her eponymous fashion label, exclusively Misuk, in 1985. Driven by her deep commitment to social responsibility, she founded the Harry and Misook Doolittle Foundation in 2001 to support Korean heritage, arts and culture, education, and healthcare, among other initiatives. Ms. Doolittle is a board member of the New York Philharmonic and American Friends of Convent Center, and serves as on the advisory board for the Metropolitan Opera, Columbia University Irving Medical Center, and City Harvest. The Korea Society is honored to have her join the Van Fleet Leadership Council early this year, along with Mr. Hwang. Joining Ms. Doolittle at the stage this evening is someone who needs very little introduction, Ambassador Kathleen Stephens, the board chair of the Korea Society. You will have a chance to ask your own questions to Ms. Doolittle. If you are joining us online, please send your questions via email to artsandculture@koreasociety.org. And now please join me in welcoming Ms. Doolittle and Ambassador Stephens.
Thank you. Thank you. And Tom, thank you so much. It's great to see you all here today in person, and welcome to those who are joining online. Our special thanks, as always, to YT Hwang and his board for conceiving and supporting this extraordinary series. I can't think of a better way to end this year's series of lectures than with Misook Doolittle. Tom has given an overview of her extraordinary life, but believe me, it's even more extraordinary than you think. Misuk, and she said I can call her Misuk, and she calls me Kathy, but we all call her Misuk, has had just an extraordinary career as a student, as an immigrant, as an entrepreneur, a very successful businesswoman, and as a philanthropist, not only a lifelong lover of the fine arts, but also a very active supporter and mentor to emerging artists from Korea and throughout the world. And I want to touch on all that in 30 or 40 minutes here and have some time for questions, but in the spirit of really kind of thinking about the whole package, if you like, which I think is what the YT Hwang series is about. It's about ethics and common values and our common humanity, what we can pass to the next generation, what we can learn in these challenging times we're in. It's really a pleasure to have Misuk here. I have to say, I'll probably say more about it later, but I've been wondering for a long time, and some of you will know what I mean, who the real Misuk was, because I wore her clothes for years and years and years, and I still have them. And and I always knew it was a Korean name. But I could never find her. And so now we found her, and I found she's even more interesting and more successful and more thoughtful than I could have imagined. So Misuk, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And it's just great to have you here. And you are a longtime resident of New York and obviously a very active participant in New York's cultural life. And We want to hear a lot more about that. But if we could just kind of wind back, and we were talking a little bit before that, and Tom mentioned some of it. You came to the United States, as many Koreans in the 70s or 80s, I'm not sure, did, and that's as a student, correct?
Right, yes.
So you did your early studies in Korea and then came with an
I
idea.
was 19 when I came here. It was 1974. And my earlier years were like a very normal, not very happy childhood. We have a big family, so we used to go to a lot of birthday parties. We spend with the families with the holidays. But then when you go to school at age 7, your first grade, I went there a little earlier. So 7 to 6th grade will be about 13, and you have to get a exam to get into middle school. So we were very into studying at a very young age 7. We'll go to school, then we'll get a tutor in the evening. So we have an extra school, and they come to the house, and we study. So everything was like studying and getting a good grade as a childhood. And it got really worse as you get older, like 5th and 6th grade, and you really have to get ready for your exam, an entrance exam to go to middle school. So you stay all night and all that until 6th grade was the hardest thing. Then you go to middle school, and the middle school and high school is like 3 years to 6 years. So I went to girls' high school. 600 people in one grade.
Right.
For 6th grade, it will be 3,600
Kind
girls.
of the baby boom
Big.
generation in Korea.
Yes, yes. And there's not much freedom there when you're in Korea. You have to wear uniforms for 6 years, and you have to cut your hair right near your ear. If it gets longer, you get cut by school. So it was like a jail, but we had a lot of fun. And then after high school and middle school years, then I had about 3 years to prepare to come to America. So studying English intensely, but without speaking with the Americans, and you study to read and grammars, all that. I think I just spent time studying. And then my friends were in college those days. They were junior, then I left.
But you were getting ready to come to the U.S.
Yes,
already.
yes,
but you had
yes.
never been before, and you came to
No.
study in university.
Right,
So that was a
yes.
little bit unusual then for a young
Yes.
woman to come. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
But you started a degree in fine arts, correct?
I studied, yes.
Yeah, but I guess you must have had an interest in clothes and fashion early on. But I was thinking about you're talking about the middle school uniforms because
Right.
I taught in the middle school in Korea. It was boys' middle school in the 1970s, so just the time around the same time. And you're right, but all the girls wore exactly the same clothes, and this is from the time they were in 6th grade until they graduated from high school, right?
That's right, yeah.
So there was a lot of freedom, I guess, when you didn't have to wear the same clothes and you could grow your hair a little, not wear your hair in pigtails anymore, right?
Yes, yes.
So what was the U.S., like coming to Indiana?
Indiana. I had a sister there. She
I see.
lived there, so I came by myself, and she helped me a lot. So going to school was, I don't even know. I think I took a test to get into the schools. I don't know how I did it, but they accept me. And it was, what it's like. I mean, those days, there's no internet. There's no magazine. The only thing we know America is another country. You go to America, you study there, and then you come back. You're going to have a successful life, whatever that means. But there was like a guarantee you're going to be having a great life. So I'm supposed to go back, right? Then I came in. It was very hard. Learning English. I was 19 years old, and I was very smart. I mean, beginning to be a young woman in Korea, and coming to America, and you cannot learn the language that quickly. So you have to be able to speak the language the way you wanted to speak. Actually, I felt like I was reborn. I was like a baby. I mean, in an adult body. I felt that I couldn't do. There's a lot of things. I have to learn the new culture, new manners. Going to school was very difficult. And there were so many times I could give up. I had a homesick. I wanted to go back home, and I missed my friends.
And very few Korean students there at that
I
time.
was only one in the school.
Only one.
We had
Wow.
one Chinese guy and the campus. That was it. Then not that many people. But then I get a special care because I was being Korean. I had special tutors to teach me how to speak. So they teach you certain problem happens. Yeah, yeah.
Right. But then in the midst of all this, you met someone, and I'm just fast forwarding, and this is while you were at Indiana, right? And you ended up going to South Africa.
Yes, yes. I met my husband. I was dating him. He's from New York. He was in advertising, and I was young, 23 years old. I met him, and I was in love. And he went to Johannesburg to work on another company in advertising, working on a Colgate Palmolive account. So we were apart for maybe 6 months, and he wrote me a letter every day. You know, he was a writer, so you could imagine. I could
No
really
texting, right?
see the whole thing. The South Africa wasn't there. And then they invite me, the company sent me the ticket to come to. So my husband sent it to me to come and live with him in South Africa. So I went there. I was there for 2 years, and I ended up getting married in Zimbabwe.
So,
Not in Johannesburg. There's apartheid going on.
But when you were in love. He was in South Africa, but you knew apartheid was still.
Yes.
Did that give you any pause about going, or
Not
you just,
really. I say, you know what? If I don't like it, I can always come back. I mean, that was my attitude. Well, you don't know until you get there. And then I had him, so I knew I would be safe. So that was a big fact. I mean, his company was a very big company, so they provide everything for visa, all that. But once I was there, they're giving me trouble, not having working visa. So they tried to make me go back. Sometimes we get a letter, so we couldn't go back to home early. Maybe somebody will come and get me. But the company did all the lawyers and stuff, so I was able to stay.
But you said you got married in Zimbabwe because you could not get married.
Nobody
in
will
South
marry
Africa.
us.
Wow.
There will be a law. They cannot. So we would have married bad enough, so we have to go to Zimbabwe to get married and came back.
That's quite an experience. So, but eventually, I know you came back to the U.S. and your husband's job took him to Michigan.
Yeah, the Grosse Pointe, Michigan.
And this is where we start to get into, and I learned just a little bit about this earlier, into how you started your business. And I think this is an amazing story. So this is not a Silicon Valley story. This is a Michigan story, and please.
Okay, I was 30 years old. I went to Michigan. We lived in Grosse Pointe, Michigan. Beautiful place, a very wealthy area for all the car people and all that. I had no job because I studied fine art, and I didn't have any skill to work anywhere. I couldn't even type those. I was lazy even typing, so I couldn't even be a secretary. So I said, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I called my teacher in Indiana. He wanted me to go to graduate school for full scholarship, but I didn't go. I don't know what to do. He said, oh, you just got to paint and all that. But I didn't want to paint as my career because I didn't want to make living as a painter. That would be selling my souls. So when I paint, I want to be free. I want to paint whatever I want to paint. I don't want to pay for anybody else.
Not for money.
Yeah. I knew that much, right? So at that time I was just smoking cigarette. Those days, everybody smoked. When I was in college, I smoked cigarette. I wanted to quit. I just couldn't. And then one day, I was at home alone. I said, I think I'm going to make a lot of money somehow. Something was telling me, you're going to make a lot of money. But then this is all my own exercise thinking. What if you were in a hospital laying there, dying with lung cancer? What would you do, Misuk? I said, you know what? I would be blaming myself and I need to quit cigarette. So what happened was in Grosse Pointe, they had a knitting shop teaching you knit. I really wanted to knit those days. Hand-knit sweaters were very expensive. So let me go learn knitting the sweater. So I learned, and I knit a beautiful sweater, most exquisite sweater I ever seen, actually, because of the yarn was very beautiful yarn. I used the expensive yarn. And then I was knitting all the time because smoking was to me nicotine plus it's a habit of your hand. My hand was constantly coming to my mouth. So when I was knitting my sweaters, or I think I knit about 20 sweaters those days, I kept knitting one after another. And when I was wearing my sweater to go to one of the big cocktail party at the mayor's house, this woman, beautiful lady, an older lady, she came up to me. Where did you get that sweater? I said, I made myself. She couldn't believe it. And she said, can I order one? I said, sure. I took the order right away. I mean, she was dressed beautifully for herself, and she was one of the lady was in the Guinness Book for most charitable work. She did it. So I got an order. I went to buy the yarn at the yarn shop. It's a retail price. And I knit it. I knit it away every day to make her sweater. So she came to my house to pick up this sweater. She said, what a great talent. So we had paintings all over my house.
Because as you were knitting them, you were designing them too, really.
No, I have a pattern.
You had a pattern.
I had a pattern,
okay.
so I already knit for myself. I knew mine, so
okay.
I know her size.
Right, I see.
I kind of calculated, and I was knitting. She was like a size medium to large. So I had to work on all the numbers, and I knitted. And she loved it.
So then how did you make the transition from hand knitting to a larger scale?
As I was doing it, everywhere I go, as short as I was, I dress very nicely. People come up to me. I mean, with that one sweater I knit, beautiful one, I wear them. People are asking, where did you buy that sweater? I said, you can order. I can knit it for you. So I had a lot of sweater orders, like over 10 orders. I'm a good salesperson anyway. So, and I bought the yarn at the wholesale price. That was the beginning of a business, getting a resale number. Or that I brought back to Korea.
Okay.
I asked mother to find me some knitters. So
you asked your mother to find you knitters in Korea.
Yeah, in Korea. Okay. So I brought back and I sold it.
And they were hand knitting?
They were all hand knitting. So
and this is the 1980s?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was there for about 2 weeks and I knit all the sweaters. I brought it back. I couldn't. then after that, then I was wearing Angora sweaters. So Angora was really famous in Korea. It looks like a fur sweater. Yeah. People stop me everywhere I go. Mm-hmm. I said, I can sell it to you. Then I was working in my husband's office as a receptionist those days. Everybody's wife was ordering from me. So then I said, Mother, I want you to send me some of those sweaters. Mm-hmm. She was a partner in crime, right? So she was sending me a whole bunch of them. And then I was sending. That was my beginning of my business.
Right. And then how did you make the transition? Because eventually you went obviously to making the knitwear for which Misuk became so well identified. And was that just did you just decide I need to scale up, as they like to say now?
You have to, because as I was selling and doing business, you have to grow. Mm-hmm. And then what's next one? Mm-hmm. What's next one? Mm-hmm. So my Angora was a big hit. Mm-hmm. Then one day, one of my friends said, the crochet is a really big thing coming back. And I listened to her. And when I went to Korea, I looked for the goods, I saw this crochet line with the little Lorex one. Mm. So I brought it back and I went to trade show. You know, you get the Jebbe Center, all that. I put it on the wall. Everybody was coming at me. That was the hit.
That was the beginning of that.
Yeah, then I got that particular item. I had 2 chain stores came to me, the icing and the cachet. They had like 80 stores of each. They both gave me an order, handwritten order right there, like 700 pieces. That's a lot of money then. The 700 another one was 800 pieces. So I look at the order. What do you do? I said, I need to get to Korea right now to supply these goods, right? So my accountant was on the phone and said, oh, you cannot do that. That's a business and you cannot do all that kind of stuff. I said, I was thinking, who are you to tell me? This is my business and I'm going. I'm going on a tonight flight. So I went back to Korea. I ordered them. I brought back. And that year, I was selling over $1 million. I reached there. And my husband said, you cannot do business here anymore because he has no life. He went to 7th Avenue, look for the showroom. You need to move out of a house and go to showroom. So I got to the
You
showroom.
stayed together, but you moved the business out of the
Yeah,
house.
yeah, business to showroom. Because
Right,
he
right.
couldn't rest when he
Yeah.
come home. There's so many goods there. It was like sweat everywhere. All that. So he kicked me out of the house, and I was doing, yeah. And then when I went to showroom, I was like, what do I do now? What's the next thing? There was like item business. 1 year was it. It's not continuous business. So I create this Misuk knits, what you were wearing.
Yeah.
And my Angora company in the Korea factory, they were importing yarns from Japan, and they had like a facility, and they have the technique to knit this very fine gauge knit. Only Korea can do that. Right now, no other country can do that kind of job. And then they made into fabric, and they're cutting or. Actually, it's a very good quality clothing they were making, and I liked it. And I was wearing them. I said, "This is every woman's dream. It looks great. You can travel. It's comfortable. Top of that, you can wash them. It comes out the same as it was. I mean,
Exactly, yeah.
what kind of clothes do you ever see it?
Right.
We always bring the dry cleaning, the linens, all that kind of stuff. So I kind of knew I was for sure. Let me make this into line, and then I made it into few pants and the bottoms and the little shell with the short sleeve tunic and the cardigans
And then
in
more
black.
and more. And Nordstrom started carrying it.
Yeah, 2 Nordstroms actually bought it at the beginning. I went out there. They wanted to see me. So I presented to them, and the Topanga and the South Coast Plaza, they were the big stores then. They ordered a couple hundred units of each. So I was very excited. Then I asked my sales lady, why don't you call them up, whether they are selling one? I had no idea, right? She called, and they said they almost sold out. So,
Wow.
you know how Nordstrom, they are all regional buying those days. So words got, they see other people selling, what's selling, what's not selling.
Yeah.
So it went to all around the country. So they were coming into, without me calling, they were visiting me, coming to the showroom. And they became my big business. So Nordstrom was my big savior for me.
Yeah, what an amazing story. And this all happens within just a few years, really.
Yeah, but from the beginning of my hand knit to the Misuk knits, about several years.
It's amazing.
But I learned a lot every day.
I guess so, yeah.
You know, you have to learn.
Yeah. Well, some of you, I hope you who have worn Misuk or know Misuk, the brand, but I did, and so I have to say something about it because I was telling Misuk, now that I've met her, that I was an active duty diplomat in the 1990s and then through the 2000s, and not a rich person, but I was traveling constantly. You know, I was on planes 5 times a week. I was going to, I'd have to go from meetings to planes to refugee camps to press interviews, and I needed something to wear that was comfortable and that looked okay, and I wasn't, but it looked better than okay. You wanted to feel,
oh, it looks
and
great.
Once I discovered these, they were washable. I'm sorry, but it was incredible, and they never wore out. And when I finally left the Foreign Service in 2015, my last tour was in India. I was telling you, I left most of my Misuk clothes there, nicely washed in the washing machine and clean, for Indian professional women because they never wear out. They were incredible.
Yeah, there was a problem to never wear out.
That's right. No, they never do. And you can do so. They really were pretty amazing. And it's such a. And then you sort of had this very successful business, and you decided at that point that you and your husband sold it, and you moved on to other things.
Actually, my husband, he said you cannot work anymore because you will die.
Yeah.
Because of the stress.
So it goes on. So I really, it's quite if I may say, an inspiration, but also kind of a case study in a startup. And coming from a background where, you had to.
I never worked at the clothing store before.
No, but you also had your mother in Korea, so that was one of your
my
secret
mother,
weapons, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, now of course, Korean fashion is ubiquitous at many levels, and so many great designers, and it has a high visibility. But you never really sort of branded your clothes as particularly coming from Korea. They were just In fact, I would tell people sometimes, I mean, because I was all this time when I was wearing these as a diplomat, before I went as ambassador, I wore them there too. I knew Misuk was a Korean name, but nobody else did either. So I was always saying, this must be from Korea. But you never really tried to brand it as a Korean product.
No, I didn't have to. It was just selling by itself as a clothing.
Right.
So I mean, I used to have my photo, my face.
Oh, you did?
Picture was on the tag,
I
hang
think
tag.
I do ever. Actually, that's
so
right.
they can see it.
Right,
That was
right.
Misuk, and people loved it. I mean, they were calling my name perfectly. Nobody mispronounced it actually, and it was just unbelievable.
So, what are your thoughts? I guess when you see how the Korean brand has become so much more visible, just generally speaking, whether in fashion or we'll talk about music in a moment.
Oh my God, I go to Korea often now. I stay there, and it's the hardest country to visit. I mean, all the young children wants to go to Korea.
Yeah.
The parents bring them to Korea for K-pops and Korean food. I mean, I went out with a couple of my friends over there. They were in Korea, so we went out to dinner. And this barbecue place, very good, the Samwon Garden.
Yeah.
And they were ordering something I didn't even know it was in the menu. 보쌈 kimchi.
Yeah.
Oh my God, who knew? They're better than we are. They're better than me. And I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, everything is. When was the last time you were there?
Last year. Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah.
Do you see those buildings?
Everyone I know, whether you're Korean or Korean American or live here or just, I mean, whoever you are, everyone always says every 6 months if you go back to Korea, it's a changed place. You
Exactly.
have to, right?
Yeah, exactly. Even the skincare, the products are all changing all the time. And yesterday was too late. I mean, too much. It's like even though you go to movie theater, you have to buy everything online.
Right.
It's not like you can ask for the Coke or whatever. Everything has to. There's a lot of time, a lot of people, older people. You know how you cannot get a taxi anymore.
Right.
In Korea.
I know that.
You
can't do anything anymore.
Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of
without your phone.
Kind of sad if you don't catch up.
Yeah.
You're not living the life, and a lot of older people they cannot use the app.
Yeah.
They cannot they can go out unless somebody called a taxi for them.
Yeah. It is extraordinary how the pace of change in so many areas. But in the area of just of business with the U.S. and starting a business here and what you did, it is really a kind of a pioneering effort. I really do look at it that way. And it happened at a time when I have to remind our younger people, and I have to remember myself, how you were talking about catalogs. You used to buy clothes from catalogs. There was no internet, right?
Right.
So, but you really started as an order business. So all of those lessons, as in many other areas, you really kind of pioneered, and you didn't let the notion that you were not native to this country and had not grown up here stop you. In some ways, it helped you.
I guess I used the opportunity being Korean, and I maximized it. I studied here in America. I was able to speak English to the marketing to U.S. market, and being able to go back to Korea, my own country, bring the goods. So I think I use both country. I maximize the opportunity, what's available for me, because I think that was the best thing.
It's terrific. It's terrific. So then, still at a young age, you sell this very successful business, and say you pivot. So what do you pivot to? Still full of energy and ideas and wanting to do things.
What happened was last few years. I mean, it's been 4 years. And my husband was ill, so. At the beginning, I went to I went to operas, and I was going out. I mean, I worked so hard. I didn't even want to work anymore. I don't want anyone to call my name. Like you go to office, everybody call my name all day long. So I really wanted to work alone. So I got into stock market. That's something I can do all by myself with my investment banker, and I had my own accounts. I was working on that. I didn't want to deal with anybody else but my own. So I did that, and then my husband was kind of ill, so I dedicated myself to taking care of him for last 5 years. And he passed away 4 years ago. So there was a time that I was able to do everything for him. I made one of my doctor a Columbia professorship, and I'm a board member there at the Columbia Medical School. And he's not here, but I'm glad I spent all my energy. I was like, I ran my husband's illness like my business. It was my business. There's nothing exists. I get up in the morning, what do we have to do? And I'm so happy that I done that. So the running the people, the helpers who were at home and going to hospital. So that was my job for few years.
You know, really, what really comes through to me, and I know I think sometimes women in particular, I think we struggle with this, but I think all of us, that we have so many responsibilities and we juggle them, and there's so many things drawing our attention. And of course, you always have to balance it, but it seems like you've really chosen times in your life when you've taken all of your passion and your energy and you've just poured it into something.
Yeah.
That may not be forever. I mean, you didn't do Misuk clothing forever.
Right.
You did it, and then you moved to something else, and you devoted your time to your husband. And
Yeah.
now I know you devote a lot of time to supporting music and to other forms of philanthropy.
Yeah,
But it kind of takes you back to your fine arts again.
I don't, I tried to paint a little bit, but it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, okay.
So Metropolitan Opera, I was going to opera, and I enjoyed it. It's like best thing, what happened was, I have to tell you about this. The music I got really into is when I went to high school. There was a Christian high school, and we had a Bible studies, and then we had a singing for Bible. And that school was very big into music. So 6 years of those days, we had a music competition every year. We had one girl was conducting, and we had to sing, and we go into the competition every year. So we learned a lot of things, and reading the notes and all that. And then in my high school, we had a great teacher who taught us operas then.
Oh my goodness.
So we were learning all the arias for Carmen, Rigoletto, all those things. I mean, we learned literally. So we went to operas in high school.
In high school in
Shiminhaegan.
Korea. That's amazing.
You know Shiminhaegan
Yes,
there.
I do.
So
Yeah,
I
right
went
there,
there
yeah.
at nighttime with the girlfriends. Then we can identify this music with our, oh my God, that's the music they are singing. So it was the most exciting thing. And the music was very good. Music education was very, very good in my high school. So when I went to US, I lived in Indiana and all over. I didn't really see operas or any music things once I got out of my job. During my job, I didn't go. I couldn't even go to operas. We were working late and all that. So the minute I got out, I started going to operas, and I loved it. I mean, you have a dinner there, you go to operas all night, and you come home, and it's the best thing I found it. And what happened was their ticket office noticed I was buying a lot of tickets. I didn't know they have that kind of program. So they were telling their development office that watch out for this lady. They gave my name, Misook Doolittle, so they must check that and see. And they invited me to a big party. There was Angie was there, all these other people. So I went to party a few times, and they asked me to become a board member. So I say, why not? This is what I like. So I became a board member at the Metropolitan Opera, and I did chaired a couple operas there while I was there. So that was about 7 years I was there. Then I moved to New York Philharmonic. This is a different one than opera, all the performance.
Yes, yeah.
You really have to know a lot of music. I didn't know that. So it was a little difficult for me to listen and all that. I'm used to performance. This was more music, but I love it now. So in New York Philharmonic, I do the I'm on a board, and I'm co-chairing the Lunar Year Gala Lunar. It
Yes.
used to be Chinese New Year.
Yes, I went one year, and it's not Chinese New Year anymore. It's Lunar New
Lunar
Year.
Year,
That's right. It's
So
a little more inclusive.
yeah, so we do that. It's the
It's wonderful.
most wonderful, and you know what? It brings our memory back. It's celebrating our own cultures there, and I get to wear Korean hanbok every year. I rent them and I wear them. And I really love them. So if anybody hasn't been to Lunar Year Gala, I invite them to come and really enjoy that. There's a lot of music there. We have a big party.
It is a great gala. Well, I mean, certainly as an American who went to Korea as a young woman about the same time you came to the United States in the 70s, I mean, one thing that really struck me was how music was integrated, as you already mentioned, into the school curriculum and indeed into life,
Right.
in a way that I had never experienced in the United States. And even in schools that did not have many resources, and even in the countryside, say there was just a tradition, which I know is very deep in Korean culture, of singing,
Yeah.
of group singing, of individual singing.
Yeah.
I remember as a Peace Corps volunteer, one of the most challenging things, I don't know about Tom, if he's here, he's a Peace Corps volunteer. The thing I found the biggest cultural challenge is everyone's, after dinner, was expected to sing a song. This is before,
That's right.
This is before karaoke, too. No accompaniment. And most of us, like many Americans, I don't really have pitch or voice. So I tried to learn an easy Korean song. That was my Oppa Sengak. But in Korea, it's so ingrained, and I think this is even before Korea's economic development, before its integration into the larger world, that it does seem like, without overgeneralizing, Koreans really carry this kind of musical appreciation or the seeds of that with them in a way that has now blossomed not only into incredible performers, and I know you support many Korean as well as other musicians who come here to perform. But also, one thing that's really striking to me now is in Korea, if you go to a classical music concert, it's filled with young people.
Yes.
And I'm sorry to say that New York Philharmonic, a little bit different perhaps, or New York Symphony, but I know I live in Washington at the Kennedy Center. Is where we have music, but it's an audience that looks more the older demographic.
You know what I think that
tell me what you think
because
about
there's
that.
no music education in America. That's what it is. So who's the next generation after us gone? If they don't teach music, I don't know why this happened. I don't even know. Do you know why?
Why music is cut from the curriculum?
Right.
Maybe
Why?
our audience has some thoughts about that. It's considered to be
That's a government.
extra. It's considered to be, optional, right?
Optional?
That's right, and elective, right?
I
Whereas,
see.
somehow in Korea, it's
No.
really
Yeah.
embedded. I think.
Right.
I think that's true. That's true.
I mean, that's a part of our education, and I think that is why I go to opera, I go to New York Philharmonic now. So I don't know in America if they don't teach music to the young children. I don't know who's going to be the audience 50 years, 30 years later. So it's a very serious matter, though. Actually,
No,
when
it
you
really
think
is.
of
I
it.
think we could learn something from Korea on that. But I think that having the kind of talent, young talent that comes here, and the young audiences that come here and share the music, maybe help a little bit. But yeah, maybe that's another area you get involved in is yes, young music education at the younger ages.
I'm very
You
much
are.
interested. Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's our future anyway. So yeah.
I have one other sort of area I want to touch on specifically, and then I'm going to turn to the audience because you say I'm enjoying my conversation, but I shouldn't be selfish and just keep talking about my thoughts about it. But and I know we have many listeners online, but sometimes. Honestly, I don't like it when people sort of ask me the woman question, but I'm kind of asking you the woman question now, which is I think when you are a woman, and maybe particularly a Korean woman in America or anywhere, you're in a minority.
Right.
You're sometimes the first person to be doing something in a field, and I just wonder if what your reflections on that are in terms of. I mean, you'd mentioned when you started your business, and of course, it sounds like your husband was a terrific support. Except it sounded like maybe he thought you worked too hard at it.
Yeah, that would die.
Did you have trouble at any time? The kind of people not taking you seriously, or not listening, or not?
As a woman?
Yeah.
Not really, but we sold the business. I sold the business, and then somebody took over. So I guess one of the Indian company took over and hired the gentleman as a CEO. So he's supposed to oversee all the brands. And he was awful, actually. No, I mean, he wasn't a really good. I mean, I guess it's only him, so I cannot generalize all the men. But he really was competing with me, and he wants me to fail rather than succeed. I mean, when I go to work, I'm there to make money. There's no other reason I go to work. And I do my best, but he kind of like to make me go. So I don't know. It's not fair to say man and woman in that kind of category. But I normally, as a Korean woman coming to this country, because when I came here, I was 19. I pretty much had an idea of who I was, what I'm capable of, and through the experience. So I had a definite idea of myself at all time, even now, right? So even though when people try to put me down, I don't care because you know what? I'm smart at who they are. I don't take that. So I don't feel that I'm the victim of woman, I'm victim of being Korean. No, I was always treated very specially from wherever I go. And I'm very confident. And I just don't, I had a girlfriend who came to Northwestern to get a PhD in law. So she's in Korea now. So I get together with her pretty often, and she said, "Oh, Misuk," she's in her 50, late 40s. She said, "Misuk, when I was in Chicago, I felt prejudice." I said, "What did you do? What have I done to you?" Because I never felt that. Maybe even if they were prejudiced to me, I didn't notice that. I was so stupid. But she literally said that, and I was like, "What do they do?" Maybe because when you're not speaking English properly, people can look down on you. I'll give you a real quick example of my housekeeper the other day was complaining that she's working for a couple other families, and this family does not pay her when they go away. So she just showed up her money. But they were asking her to work for her badly. She walked the dog, and she's a very good worker, and I love her. So I sat there and I said to her, "Do you know what? You're going to have to speak to them. Tell them, if you are not going to pay me while you're away, I will not be available for you." I told her to write this down and go home and practice until you can speak perfectly. You go speak to her. So she said, "What if they fire me? Don't worry, I'll find you a job." And I was willing to help her out. So they were scared. People are scared being a foreigner, not being speak English perfectly. People do take advantage over the situation. I know that. So when I came back, she told me she spoke to her and she got the money plus. So I think it's the speaking part is what makes you, people can underestimate who you are.
Having the confidence. And
Yeah.
But you practice. Good advice.
I mean, right. So.
Thank you. All right. I'm going to turn to the audience. Just raise your hand and maybe introduce yourself. There's a microphone coming around since we can hear each other, but we do have people online who are joining us.
Thank you both for this very insightful talk. Misuk, my wife and I are both small supporters of NYFL and Mid Opera. So, we were there at the most recent Lunar New Year concert. So really appreciate all the effort you put in there. So my question is, now you sit on the board for NYFL, and now we got a new CEO and a new creative director, Dudamel. Like, what are the major new projects?
Speak up a little bit louder.
Yes. So I'm just curious, now you sit on the board for NYFL, what are the major new ventures, new initiatives you're pushing inside the organization that we have the new CEO and the new creative director?
I think it's the greatest time of New York Philharmonic right now, having Deborah Bolda, I love her dearly, but she's no longer there. And Matthias, he's new CEO, and he has a new vision. And we're going to have Dudamel coming in on our board. I think there's no limit to what we wanted to do. And I think the Dudamel has a very clear idea of how he wants to do education center and a few other projects he has in his mind. And I'm very supportive of Matthias, and especially Dudamel coming to New York Fair. I don't know, you may not even get a ticket anymore. I mean, he's amazing, and he's into all the music education, and I think everybody's whole house is very excited. Did I answer you?
Thank you. What else? You know, I have to say, I'm very pleased that thanks to you, we have, I think, some people perhaps who are at the Korea Society for the first time for an event. And we do have, J.O. is in charge of our arts and culture program here, and always looking to deepen the program. So thank you for bringing in some, perhaps, I maybe you've been here a lot, but I'm just assuming maybe we have a few people who are coming here, I know, because of you, and we're grateful for it. Others?
We have a question from an online viewer.
Okay, yeah.
The viewer asked, what did it mean to you to name the brand after yourself? And why did you decide to name the brand after yourself?
Oh, that's not, I didn't do that. My husband did it, Harry Doolittle. He was in advertising, and he made many famous work. And when he said it, I didn't even resist it. I thought that's the way it should be. It's like, what's to fight about it? Mm-hmm. He knows the best about the brands and that kind of work. So it was fine. And but there's a time when I have to introduce myself. Misook Doolittle. I'm the CEO of exclusively It's too many Misooks all the time. I say, oh God, just don't call my name anymore. Why? So it was a little bit uncomfortable at a time, but it's been good. It's easily they can speak, and they love my name.
Yeah.
So it's been.
You see, back then they probably didn't recognize it as a Korean name. Probably these days, a lot more people would know. Oh, that's a Korean name, because people are more aware.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right.
It's great.
Yes.
Yeah. Others?
I can continue with the online question.
Yes.
So the other question was, for younger generations, what advice would you offer about living with purpose, integrity, and cultural pride in this world?
I guess younger generation, I see a lot of bright young women everywhere, a lot of Korean women. I saw the other day, I met a bunch of them. And I guess they have to stand up for themselves, speak their own mind, and they can mentor another young woman, or they have to kind of like speak to them and help them out. And I guess standing up for your own is very important. So they know who you are. Otherwise, you know what? If you don't have a voice.
Can I follow up and ask? I mean, and I know this is a really complicated question, but or can be, but. You go back to Korea, you said, fairly often, and you stay in touch. And I go back to Korea fairly often, and the status of women, or the role of women in Korea has changed a great deal since you were a young woman there. I mean, in terms of expectations of men as well, right? But in access to education more generally, access to jobs. Changed a lot. But there's also a lot of tension between the genders, especially in the younger generation.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, there's some younger Koreans, I don't know if we have it, that a lot of young men feel that the competition from young women is unfair, and is in a very competitive world, is making life more difficult for them. There are tensions, and we see some of this in society as well. But it's maybe like a lot of things in Korea, it has a very kind of intensive, sometimes, expression of divide. Again, especially the younger generation, and then the whole question of the declining rates of marriage, declining birth rates. Kind of a sense on the part of the younger generation that yes, the traditions are gone, and
I think
there's
they
more
wanted to live
equality,
now.
but there's a sense of things are not quite where they need to be.
You know what it is? Korea's housing price got way high, more than New York City. It's so expensive to buy the house on their own, and their children's education is unbelievably hard. It's very expensive to raise kids now. So I guess some young people, they give up. I'm never going to make this happen.
They don't feel there's hope.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's the
yeah.
problem. There's no hope. For me to, so what? Why don't I just live myself, comfortably have fun now? And a lot of young couples are decide not having kids. And there's a lot of people, I go to Korea, see, there's a lot of people go to restaurant by themselves and eating by themselves, like solo now. Yeah.
In a country that used to be a much more kind of group
Right.
oriented.
And then, they sit there, they look at their phone all day, and they're eating, and their life is becoming a little different than it used to be family orientated now.
Yeah. I mean, those are the kinds of questions that, again, in the YT Hwang series, we've been looking at with some lectures as kind of an epidemic of some loneliness. And again, it's not confined to Korea, and it manifests in a certain way in Korea, but we also see it in this society and in other, in particularly industrialized societies or places where there's a sense of growing inequality, of less opportunity to move up. And I think there's a lot we can maybe, hopefully, learn from each other in trying to think about how we understand and address some of these issues. Yeah.
Right.
Wow. In that respect, I don't want to keep you too long unless there's other questions, but we always like to ask speakers, and we're so pleased that you're on the advisory board of the Korea Society, our Van Fleet Leadership Council. So we will look for you, and we do look for you for leadership and advice, but I'd welcome any thoughts you have about, given, again, your long experience as a bridge between these two countries. And one thing I've learned this evening is how important certainly your mother was, but also Korea, having those contacts in Korea were to your, as well as your family and support here to building this incredible business at a time when it was never easy, but it wasn't easy. But in terms of the relationship between the two countries, what sort of thoughts or advice do you have about the role that something like the Korea Society can play in trying to continue to build these ties between our two peoples?
I mean, I think Korea Society is doing a great job. You teach Koreans here. I didn't know. In such a high level of Koreans.
Everyone wants to study it. The language, you
I
mean.
know.
Yeah,
they can. I mean, we should really thank to Psy and the BTS.
Yes.
They are able to. No, I truly say that because of them, Korean words they're singing together, all that stuff.
That's true. Music again. Music is a great window into language.
Exactly.
Yeah,
music is another language anyway,
it
right?
Is.
So that Korea Society you do a lot. There's so many different culture programs, and you announce the lot of Korean events in New York City. So anybody who wants to learn about Korea, they come here. And right now, I'm not really grabbing so much of what you do. There's so much there. I'm pretty new here, right? Yeah. So I couldn't really talk about it, but let me think about it.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it. And I ask all in our audience to think about it, too. I mean, I certainly will say, yes, I think the Korean language program, which you can sign up for online during the pandemic, the Korea Society moved online for a number of things. And in fact, I think it was a very positive thing in some ways for our Korean language programs. There's still in-person opportunities to get together, but you can register online. It's a very good program. And you're absolutely right. It's mostly a young demographic, young people who have started listening to Korean music.
Right.
Or sometimes it's Squid Game, or that's yesterday's story. But
yes.
Demon, all these things, the movies and films and so on, and want to actually learn a little Korean, or more than a little Korean in many cases. The Korean language is the fastest growing foreign language being studied in the United States.
Is that right?
I mean, it's still less people than study French or German or Spanish, but if you look at the trends, unfortunately,
Upcoming.
the trend is
Yeah.
down on all the other languages, including actually Chinese as well, I believe, but it's way up on Korean from a very much, smaller base to begin with. But that is, as you say, I think almost entirely due to the attraction of Korean culture in the broadest sense. So,
Right.
yeah.
Then the Korean food, they have to pronounce.
And then there's food. That's right. Yeah. Whoever dreamed we'd see gochujang on every menu in every diner. And kimchi is one thing, gochujang is another. So,
Right.
but it does mean that the Korea society, in a way, there are many, many opportunities, but there's also many ways to access all of this. But we do want to try to provide a kind of a perspective by bringing voices like yours and others from Korea itself to go a little bit, to dig a little deeper in what our kind of shared experience and shared challenges, and we have many of those challenges are. So thank you so much for joining us. We really
Thank you for
appreciate
having
it.
me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was great. Bless you.